Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Cradle News Roundup coming to you live. My name is Esteban Carrillo, and as usual, I'm joined by my friends and colleagues, content creator and writer for the Cradle, Karim Shami, and content creator and social media manager for the Cradle, Sima Itaim. And before we start, just please a friendly reminder: make sure to hit that like button as soon as you arrive to this stream, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't. But of course, above all, check out the link under the video in the description below. That can take you to our Patreon page where you can become a direct supporter of the Cradle. There's some breaking news that we should discuss as we start today's episode. Obviously, many things happening over the past 24 hours, but Axios is reporting that France has drafted a proposal to end Israel's attacks in Lebanon, requiring the Lebanese government to recognize Israel, while at the same time allowing allowing an international alliance to help disarm Hezbollah, and then to push the Israeli army to leave within a month after the signing of this agreement that is being brought forth by France. It would have called on the two countries to reaffirm their commitment to the UN Security Council Resolution 1701. And the French proposal also calls for the Lebanese armed forces to redeploy south of the Litani River. This is what would push for the alleged, withdrawal of Israeli troops. I mean, it does seem a lot, this French proposal, it does seem a lot like the Gaza ceasefire proposal under the Board of Peace. You have the same guarantors, essentially. You have a very similar disarmament proposal calling for an international force to come in and disarm Hezbollah, which should be the biggest question mark here. And of course, the de facto, or well, actually direct recognition of Israel by the Lebanese government, which I think actually, goes against the Lebanese constitution. What do you guys make of this breaking news?
I'm going to let Karim go after me. I don't have that much to say. I don't think that Israel will accept to withdraw at all from South Lebanon, even if it's a month after the signing of the agreement. We have apparently direct talks between Lebanon and Israel coming up, according to Haaretz. They're expected to hold direct talks in the coming days. Apparently it might be held in Cyprus, and Jared Kushner is expected to be involved, and Ron Dermer as well, the Minister of Strategic Affairs, he is, if I'm not mistaken, leading the Israeli delegation. I don't know really where this is going when there is like a battle taking place, and the whole reason the battle was reignited was because of all these Israeli violations. And Lebanese journalist Khalil Nasrallah, who is also a Cradle contributor, wrote today that Israel wants to disarm Hezbollah, implementing the August 5 cabinet decision in Lebanon, if you guys remember that, which is considered non-consensual. And part of the official Lebanese state has recently acknowledged a ban on Hezbollah's military activities, if you recall. And both sides are expected to enter negotiations, according to Haaretz, as I mentioned. But he's asking if both sides are already talking about wanting Hezbollah's disarmament, meaning Israel and the Lebanese government, then what exactly is there to negotiate? So he's saying there are concerns that the negotiations could focus on how to disarm Hezbollah directly, which would, of course, mean Lebanon would be paying a very high price. And he says, of course, he comments that the step towards negotiations is a premature and major mistake, and that in any case, the Lebanese delegation has not yet been formed, and there are many obstacles that could derail the talks. Not to mention, the as they say in Arabic, I'm not going to be able to translate the expression, but right now the word is, from the battlefield. This doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon, even though Lebanon is taking major losses. Because why would we return to square one? So Axios scoop about, I'm not sure if these are even. I'm not sure about. We've seen a lot of drafts over the past 3 years, whether for Palestine, or for Lebanon, or for Iran, for that matter, when it came to negotiations. And we're going to have to wait and see where, because it's an Axios scoop. Axios, the U.S.-Israeli propaganda outlet. I don't know what they're trying to play at here. If the Israelis and the Americans are now studying this proposal, they're reviewing it currently. It doesn't seem to be, again, realistic or addressing the root of the problem or addressing the fact that Israel will not accept to withdraw. And you mentioned, Esteban, it's very similar to this stabilization force that they keep talking about in Gaza, right? When they talk about the force that would be formed to oversee the disarmament of Hezbollah. I mean, once again, it's another one of those, drafts that, not sure how this kind of thing will materialize in the current climate. That's all I have to say about it.
I mean, it's the questions it brings up. Actually, I want to just say something to our listeners, because there is a very loud noise in the background. That is something that is way beyond our control right now. It's something that is being done outside of the cradle offices. It should stop in a bit. For those of you who, yeah, sorry about that. Honestly, there's really not much we can do. The second thing, and before I let Karim go, is just that it again feels like the kind of deal that benefits one side while pushes the other side to give up all, its sovereignty and its safety under the promises that Israel is going to be respecting the terms of the deal, when we know that Israel has made an Olympic sport out of violating terms of the deals that they agreed to. So, yeah, I just want to add that. What do you make, Karim, of this report?
More nonsense, same old story.
Yeah, first I want to add to Seema. She said about the Arabic expression, it's more like the decision will be made on the battlefield, not on behind political or behind negotiation doors. So well, I think this is a trap also for Hezbollah and for the resistance in the region, because of course they will put a very harsh points that Hezbollah will not accept to. Imagine Hezbollah will accept to this, and then they will furthermore blame Hezbollah on what's happening in Lebanon, and they will never blame Israel. The main goal is to blame Hezbollah. The main goal is to ignore even the word Israel from the negotiations, or even from the Lebanese media. It's always Hezbollah, Hezbollah, Hezbollah. This is the current goal, and it's been like this since 2006, following the battle that happened between Hezbollah and Israel. So they want Hezbollah to say no, and then they will blame him. And if they force it, that means Hezbollah is put between two choices: either a civil war inside the country, or either a battle with Israel. And they are calling Hezbollah to choose one of them, because the Israelis, they don't want to fight. It's better for them and cheaper for them, for the Lebanese army and for some gangs in Lebanon to fight Hezbollah, as they tried in Gaza, as they tried in Iran, as they succeeded in Syria, as they somehow succeeded in Iraq, and they killed many people, creating ISIS and different factions, as they succeeded in, unfortunately, also Libya and Sudan and other places. I will not talk long about this. So that's a plot that is being cooked for Hezbollah, and that's their goal. Whatever Hezbollah determines, or even if he accepts or no, they will find a thing to blame him and to attack him. And as Seema said, the battle will tell us what will happen, because Hezbollah said that they are not negotiating. They don't want to negotiate now. And also, despite all the news, and also the Iranians still now, their ceiling is still high. They want their money back. They want to lift sanctions. They want to destroy the American assets, not only bases now in the region. And the Americans are also escalating. And it's clear for Netanyahu and for the Israelis and for the Zionists, they know it. The only chance now for them to gain maximum gain is to manipulate Trump and the Americans furthermore to gain what they can, because it's known, and they said it, they don't think that they will have another Zionist president as Trump in the future. And even Netanyahu said that we have to be prepared in 10 years. We should not rely on the United States. And they have many plans. There's also plans that are related to Judaism, religion, related to Islam. Also for the Iranians, some of what's happening, or majority of what's happening for them, it's also religious war. And also the Americans, Pete Hecht, he said that we are launching this war against radical Islam, and this war will make Jesus to appear faster, and they send letters to their soldiers. So it's a big war. Everybody wants to gain something. Till now, we are seeing that the Iranians are taking the most damages, but they are willing to sacrifice for their future. And also, the Israelis' image is shattered completely. And also, I don't think the Israelis consider that Hezbollah will be this powerful. So they are getting hits from Hezbollah they didn't expect. And also the Americans, because the leak said yesterday that Trump was certain that he wanted to. He said he will destroy Iran even before Iran, without Iran having the ability to close the Strait of Hormuz. So there's many surprises from both sides now. Of course, the Iranians were surprised of the assassinations and the air superiority, but also since 10 days, the Americans are saying that they destroyed 90%, 100%, 80%, whatever percent of the missiles. The missiles are still coming. They couldn't
Today
destroy.
He said that he destroyed the entirety of Iran's military. That's what he claimed a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, I mean, he's been saying Iran's been completely destroyed for a while, and then also, but he's asking for help with the Strait of Hormuz. It doesn't make much sense to me. And just Lebanon quickly before we move on to Iran and other things. We currently, those of us who are here in Lebanon, are living through a war. It's a lot of pressure on us, but I'm not going to talk about the emotional aspect. I'm going to talk about even the work aspect and how living in the midst of war affects how we view things. All these reports swirling around become secondary to us. I'm sure Karim will agree with me. He as someone who works, people who work in this domain and are living here, we are naturally more concerned with what is happening on the ground than all the reports we have swirling around, like the Haaretz and Axios reports, because in fact, just less than 15 hours ago, it was 13 hours ago, there was a report by Sharq al-Awsat saying that Israel is refusing direct talks with Lebanon. Lebanon, as usual, desperate and wanting to make more and more concessions, which is one of Hezbollah's issues with the Lebanese government. But Israel, it was a report saying Israel had rebuffed this historic offer for direct talks, saying it was too late for direct talks. So how now do we have all of a sudden these direct talks, and then we have, the comments that, a delegation on our side hasn't been formed yet. So these things change by the day. The reports are shifting by the day, just like Trump's comments shift by the day. And and I saw the other day there was a Financial Times report about how Iran is playing a long game to force a ceasefire by creating a crisis in the global economy and in the meantime conserving its missiles. So you have this FT report, and simultaneously you have the Americans saying that they have no missile capability left. I mean, I'm sure Iran has taken losses, but to say that they are no longer able to launch when you see them attacking the U.S. assets and bases in the GCC and in Jordan continuously, it doesn't make much sense, right? I mean, we have to also, it doesn't make sense to me. But so anyway, that's moving into Iran. But so with Lebanon, it's not clear really. With the reports, you can't jump to any conclusions now or go to.
There's one more thing about Lebanon.
Yeah.
Sima, sorry to cut you off, because I do think it's important to discuss. Before I bring it up, just please, everyone who's here right now, make sure to hit that like button. It really is important to get this video out to as many people as possible. There's the other report that, and I forget, maybe Haaretz, I don't remember who the source is, about Israel planning a massive invasion of South Lebanon. That's how they say that they are mobilizing, troops. We know that now that Hezbollah entered this war because they saw the plans, right? They found out about the plans of Israel for an imminent attack, and this, of course, was after they mobilized, I think, 100,000 reservists.
Exactly, which Israel admitted to.
Yeah.
That,
so now, in parallel with the French proposal, you have this movement in the south, and you also have Hezbollah units, in particular the Radwan forces, fully deployed, I believe, in the south of Lebanon. I mean, they, at the same time as you hear in Hebrew media that they are planning for this, you hear how unprepared they have been and how wrong they have been as well about Hezbollah. So I think, all of this adds weight to what you said, which is the reality or the outcome of this is going to be decided well on the battlefield.
There's a lot of lies, right, on all sides. I mean, you see the Gulf, the defense ministries of the Gulf countries saying we intercepted everything so that the people, so that their citizens feel safe, and they are not intercepting everything, and bases are taking damage, and different assets are taking damage. So, yes, you are intercepting, but you're not intercepting everything, and yet you're lying and saying you're intercepting everything. I mean, and yeah, I mean, to what you said, and before going back to Iran, I just wanted to also, I don't think we reported this, but. It happened yesterday. It was, I forgot which Hebrew channel, or maybe it was the public broadcaster, the Israeli public broadcaster, saying that, estimating now that Hezbollah has at least 25,000 rockets, missiles / projectiles. I mean, 25,000. And that's after the whole talk that Hezbollah was finished and didn't have anything left, and
That they destroyed all their missiles.
They destroyed everything. They obliterated all the border village. If you see the destruction that they caused to the border villages, and you'd think based on all of that, all of those reports over the past 15 months, you'd think that there would be nobody left in those areas to defend. But another thing about the ground invasion, I don't know when it will officially start, but as far as I'm concerned, it already started, because what the Israelis do, and anyone who lives in Lebanon or is familiar with Lebanese affairs can correct me if I'm wrong, and Karim, you also can correct me. I have observed that what the Israelis do, and they did it in Gaza at some points as well, sorry about that, some crazy people over here, is they claim that they haven't yet tried to advance, but they very well are trying to advance. Like, they are trying to advance, and they are getting attacked right now in the south, but they have not formally announced a ground invasion. But for me, it has begun already.
Not only for you, it's a stupid thing that both the Israelis and the Americans, and prior to that, the Europeans, say, and the way they want to shape the narrative, it's crazy. And imagine, till now, the Americans refuse to acknowledge that what's happening is a war. It's a military operation.
Of course. Yeah,
it's so stupid. And same in Israel. They are trying to invade from Likhiam. They tried to invade from Maroun al-Ras, and there's battles there, and there's Merkavas that being shot, and there's photos, and there's all these things, and that we also post at the Cradle. You can go check them out. And then they are saying, no, we are preparing. No, they are trying to
they're trying
infiltrate.
to enter.
They are seeing where maybe Hezbollah is weak on which front. Until now, Hezbollah is everywhere till now, as we monitor the news. Yeah. So,
guys, on the homepage.
Yes.
Sorry, no. Just before you continue, keep your thought. On the homepage, we have a feature out from. It came out last night, called "Israel's Khiam Fixation: 1 Hill, 5 Wars, and No Lessons Learned." Please check it out in light of what we're discussing. Sorry, Karim, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is the narrative that the Israelis and the American use. What's happening now is that Iranians are targeting all the bases of the United States in at least 8 or 7 countries or 9 countries. You have UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Sultanate Oman, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, and they are targeting ships. And today they launched a new operation to target all the banks that are related to the West. And they targeted infrastructure for AI that a couple of U.S. companies use, like Amazon and like Microsoft, and that's what's happening. And the embassies are being bombed. Until now, the Americans they refuse to say that they are inside a war, for a stupid reason that a war needs a Congress. Operation doesn't need a Congress. These people are like programmed. They don't think there's no logic in this war from the American side. And also the Americans also are like putting many companies and individuals that have nothing to do with this war in danger. For instance, when Trump asks the ships to start to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, and we saw that Iranians are targeting these ships. Okay, you have to take a permission. You are in war. This water is for us. You want to pass? We give you permission. We didn't accept that. Wait till the war ends. That's that's what's happening in the world. And the Americans and their president comes and say and ask these ships to pass. They are gambling. They want to see the capabilities of Iran. They want Iran to target more ships. So they say, look, Iran is targeting more ships. Imagine the strongest country in the world and the biggest democracy, as they claim, is asking ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, and they are certain that these ships will be targeted, and they are still asking the ships to pass. And also regarding Iran, because we started, I want to say something regarding what's happening in Iran. And of course, we are saying that Iran is taking damages. But in war, you have to check and see the goals. What is being achieved despite the losses? Because the end game will determine the path of a country or the path of a region in such wars. For instance, the Iranians said that we will target oil bases. Our goal is to kick the Americans out of the Gulf. Until now, they are succeeding. Every single Gulf country was asked by its American embassy, its citizens, to leave. This is a goal that is being accomplished. They released a statement the third day or fourth day of the war, because the Americans is like 1 day less than us. They said that we evacuated 20,000 Americans. That was in the first 3-4 days. So this is being accomplished. Now all the banks, American banks, British banks, and the AI infrastructure and the tech companies of the United States in the region, they are evacuating their people, and they are closing their branches. So this is the same point is being accomplished. The basis is being accomplished. So that's what the Iranians did. They said we will close Strait of Hormuz until the the oil reaches $150 or $200. The times of Iranians and this region suffering alone has ended, and that's what they are accomplishing. But till now, many countermeasures are being taken from Europeans and other places and the United States to prevent the oil price of reaching $150. But eventually, if we continue like this, whatever they do, it will reach $150 and more. And everybody will suffer from this war. On the other hand, the Americans are saying from day 3 or 4, we destroyed Iran. Iran can't launch missiles, and they are launching. They said that all the officials are hiding, and they put us like $50 million. We saw them on the streets. They said if we kill Khamenei, we want to appoint who will rule Iran. This didn't happen. Completely the opposite. The most person that's like against maybe the United States now is the one that was elected, the son of Khamenei. So if we look at it as we zoom out on seeing what's happening, no, the war is not as what the Israelis and the Americans planned. The war is till now being determined by the Iranians, because they are aiming on their goals and also applying it. And also what the Iraqis and Hezbollah is doing, I don't think it was expected. Maybe it was expected, but not on that extent.
Not the strength. Yeah, not
the strength of the Iraqis.
100% because and underrepresented.
100% because we here in Lebanon, of course, we meet people maybe sometimes with Hezbollah, against Hezbollah, with other parties. They don't care about Palestine. They live for Palestine. And the people that we talk with that are like hardcore Hezbollah, for instance, or hardcore Iran and IRGC, or hardcore Iraqis, people from Iraq, nobody of them, people that have faith in the resistance, nobody of them expected that the Iraqis and Hezbollah will do what they are doing. And it's more than they expected. So
the Iraqi resistance is really like outdone itself, to be honest. I mean, and don't think that they're not taking hits. There are There was a huge assassination in Baghdad. There's bombing across Iraq. There's at least 100 martyrs, I think, from the Iraqi resistance. By the way, it's a huge sacrifices. But really, the attacks on U.S. assets, the attacks on foreign assets. Non-stop drone and rocket attacks, really.
I just put
we talked a lot about that since October 7th, Israel recognized that this was an existential war enacted as such, now I think is finally the other side, especially Iran, Hezbollah, etc., the Iraqi militias.
And the Iraqis, yeah.
Yeah, saying like, okay, finally, we are also taking that stance. In any case, for their detriment or for their victory at the end of the day, we'll have to wait to see. Let me go over a couple of things, guys, because first of all, yesterday, Donald Trump made the brilliant decision to attack Harish
Island, yeah.
Which is, as many people have found out probably over the past couple of days, it's where 90% of Iran's oil exports stem from or are, shipped out of. Donald Trump said, and I think the Iranians confirmed this, that no oil infrastructure was hit, but that they, destroyed the military, et cetera, et cetera. What he
Obliterated.
Yeah, exactly. He loves that one, right? To obliterate. He also said, the Iranians then said, that this will open the door again, like the tit for tat escalation of we're going to start targeting energy assets of the U.S. in the region. Of course, as Karim said, the banks, and I think Citibank in particular has closed like many offices. At the same time, as this escalation continues to, happen, Iran has made a couple of interesting announcements. The first one was a few days ago. Actually, no, they made one announcement and there's another report. The announcement was that Arab and European countries would get safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz if they expel the Israeli envoys from their territory. Now, yesterday, CNN came out with a report saying that Iran is considering allowing vessels to cross the Strait of Hormuz if their oil is being sold in yuan and not in the US dollar. This is, of course, would be the closure of the Strait of Hormuz itself. Karim was talking about what are the goals, right? Like, what are the goals of the war? For Iran, the goals of the war, and this is my view, is one, survive, and second, diminish as much as possible U.S. hegemony, not just in West Asia, but, across the board. And, of course, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz is kind of like a stake to the heart of this in particular, to the petrodollar, and kind of like an attempt to accelerate that old term that we've been using for a few years now, which is de-dollarization, the de-dollarization of international trade, which is nothing new. Let's be honest. This is something, like I said, we've been talking about for years. There's been countries, I think Saudi Arabia at one point was discussing, or they reached an agreement to sell some of their oil in yuan. India has talked about this. Iraq has talked about this, and also, moved some of their trade with China to yuan. The Asian blocks of nations, the Southeast Asian nations, have for the past 3 or so years been in open discussions and are making arrangements to shift their trade from the dollar to their own currencies. And what Iran is doing, if it's true, because like I said, this is based on a CNN report, citing sources.
Yeah, so yeah,
it's interesting. It's interesting, and it's also it fits into the pattern of what we're seeing, which is we're not just going to take the war to the military, we're going to take the war to your economy as well, because you for 47 years have been crushing us with sanctions. Well, now it's our turn to give you a receipt.
Yeah, it's true. Exactly. It's kind of two birds with one stone kind of thing.
Exactly. Karim.
Yeah, exactly. And what you're saying is 100% correct, because this war has two phases: the actual war, the firepower, and what's happening, and of course the economic section. And here's where most of the hopes of Iran is, I think, because as you said, this also diminishes or even destroys the United States hegemony. I will give you an example of that, and I think we will start seeing that in the future. And rumors started to come out yesterday, which are, number one, the French, the Italians.
Very interesting comments from Italy, eh?
That they have opened.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, finish it, then we can.
Yeah, no problem. They said that we will negotiate with Iran. We will not. We are not part of this, and other news came out. Then the Italians came out and said no, this is not true. And French said the French said the same. I think there are negotiations, but they are between the two countries, and maybe they are afraid of Trump or his reaction when they know when he knows that Italy is, for instance, is negotiating with Iran regarding the oil. Why I'm saying this? And Turkey also announced that yes, some Turkish ships will allow to be passed. Why I'm saying this? For instance, just to give an example of...
And there's India. Sorry, there's India as well, right? The Indian... that Iran is allowing
some
Indian,
ships, some
Indian
Indian ships have passed,
Yeah, so this also applies to other countries. For instance, if I am a very good ally to the United States, and now I am having a problem with oil, the price of oil and gas is rising, my factories are not functioning properly because I need oil and I need gas, okay? If I go and turn to the United States, this is the only times after 1945, the United States can do anything for me. I will be forced to go and negotiate with Iran. This will give Iran leverage on the international politics, not only in the regional politics. So, for instance, Japan or Korea, if Japan wants oil and the only option is the Strait of Hormuz, because 70% or more of their energy comes from there, Japan will be forced to talk with the Iranians. And I think Trump he has two choices. Either he will come crazy, that's what I think, or he will accept it and take and give waivers or accept what's happening between these countries, as he did with Russia. And this really will weaken the United States. This in the future will make the effectiveness of the sanctions of the United States less, because the countries will understand what's happening, and they know that the American hegemony is weaker now than giving us oil and lowering the prices.
Very well put, Karim. Very well put.
Just
Go
quickly,
ahead.
I wanted to just read out a tweet by Iran's foreign minister. He's posted a screenshot of Financial Times headline, "Oil windfall gives Russia $150 million a day." He says the U.S. spent months on bullying India into ending oil imports from Russia. After 2 weeks of war with Iran, it's been 15 days, don't forget, White House is now begging the world, including India, to buy Russian crude. Europe thought backing illegal war on Iran would win U.S. support against Russia. Pathetic. So I like that tweet a lot. I think he's very good. He's very good with the tweets. It's very
necessary. It's part of this narrative, because if anything, right now, Iran, it's by breaking this hegemony and by being the victim of this war of aggression, kind of become the most popular nation on earth. I mean, honestly, especially when you consider the global South, people are rooting for Iran left and right, because now we have a very clear example of what it means. I was reading today, I think it was, can't remember what news outlet it was, but they were interviewing Iranians who supported regime change and who are now saying oh, Israel and the US are somehow worse. They're going to turn my country into Iraq. And, even for the people who have been the most pro-regime change, pro-Shah, whatever you want to call it, it's very much a come to Jesus moment of oh wait, I was wrong all these years, right? And I think this is happening across the board, and Iran is really playing that angle well. I feel like yesterday, the Quds Day marches with the entirety of the Iranian government, or at the very least a dozen officials.
Just all the ministers,
walking on the streets, openly taking selfies with people that you cannot buy. You cannot buy the impact that those images generate worldwide. And just to that point. But I don't know. I kind of there was something else I wanted to discuss, but I kind of lost my train of thought.
It's just this thing of what you mentioned as well, of even people who are against the Islamic Republic government, rallying around their government, or at least not stopping, not inciting against their government when it comes to times of war. This is a national awareness that the Iranians have always had. We saw it during the 12-day war. It's something we never see in places like Syria and Lebanon. unfortunately. You will never see in Lebanon everyone rallying around or agreeing at least that there's a common enemy, whether or not you have internal issues with Hezbollah, which is not that much to ask, actually. With Iran, don't forget that they again shifted the goalpost. They again now claim that they're not trying to change the regime. They are, Netanyahu came out a few days ago and said he's not sure that they can change the regime unless the Iranians, what was it? You can teach whatever, you can't lead I forgot what the quote was.
You can lead a man to water,
but you can't teach. Yeah, you can't force him to drink. So it's like there's guys. It's been 15 days and you haven't seen any of these uprisings. You haven't seen any of them. These anti-government uprisings in Iran. And if they are going on,
gonna see them.
There are so few that they're so negligible that they're not even being covered. That's not to say that there aren't people on the ground giving intelligence to the enemy. That exists everywhere. It's happening here in Lebanon, which is way smaller, even more. It's happening in Iran. It happens everywhere. Even in Yemen, it happens everywhere. But still, you haven't seen any. And once again, even though they should have drawn lessons from the 12-day war, they were actually expecting the Iranians to rise up against their government and to violently riot in this time. I don't know how they were expecting that. I mean, after seeing the 12-day war, and it's just, there's none of it. There's none of it right now.
They're disconnected with reality, and it's so obvious, it's so clear, like a child can realize that these people really had no strategy, had no plan. They only had, hopes and wishes and lies. And that was it. And now they are. That's why, Donald Trump is now asking for help for the Strait of Hormuz. I wanted to mention that that's actually what I wanted to mention earlier. That yesterday, what's her name, Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy, said, we are not going to fight in this war. We do not support this war. Israel and the U.S. Violated international law. I'm paraphrasing; these are not exactly the phrases she used, but that was her point. I think in Parliament, and it's kind of interesting to first of all see a NATO member, a European NATO member, say this as reports come out that European nations are trying to talk directly to Iran. What Karim was saying earlier. So. And at the same time, Putin is just sitting back in the Kremlin, just looking at the sanctions be lifted. And because there's also the question of the fertilizers. Now, this is something that people have also been discussing, that the Strait of Hormuz is I don't remember the number, but it's a high percentage of the global fertilizer trade passes through there. And now Russia is has a third of the supplies, for fertilizers. So at the end of the day, Russia and China just kind of sitting back and enjoying the view.
Yeah, but also if you look into the bigger picture, even on the globe, you will see however you make the calculations, the Americans are losing, on the international stage and on the region, because also we talked a lot about stuff, but till now today we didn't mention the Gulf countries. Weakening Gulf countries weakens by default the Americans, because
and Israel.
Part of the hegemony of the United States is from our region. And I always said it here in our podcast. I said when Trump was elected, I said he will be able to do whatever he wants in our region, but not outside our region. Meaning, for instance, he wanted to block Mexico. He wanted boots on the ground in Mexico. He wanted to take over Greenland. And Canada, and he had many thoughts. None were fully accomplished. But here,
still year two, Karim.
Yeah, still year two. I know. But here, we saw every single Arab he met in the region, the Gulf states, how they pleased him, gave him airplane. Who does that, man? Who does that? Who give an airplane gift for another country, for instance? Also, what's happening in the region is very important, and I want to explain why the Europeans will do that, because they have no other choice, and why they have never done that before.
We will do what, Karim?
Yeah, what you said about negotiating with Iran and asking Iran if they can pass oil, and giving strong statements that they are against this war. All these countries will be happy if Iran falls, but currently these countries, if they make the calculations and they would see what's happening, they will be forced to talk to Iran and to take such decisions. Why? Because, for instance, what they did in Syria only affected Syria. What they did in Iraq was only inside the borders of Iraq. What they did in Yemen was also done only in parts of Yemen. The same that they are doing in Lebanon. And what they did in Libya, first they secured the oil and all of this stuff, and then they created chaos and they don't care. The Iran war is different, even if you go back to Vietnam and other wars. Why? Because it's clear that Iran is targeting everybody that is against it in the region and beyond. Meaning, if Italy wants to go with the United States in the war, all the Italian assets, Italian businessmen, Italian companies will be targeted in the region. Italian banks, whatever will be targeted. The same applies to France. The same applies to different countries. The same applies to Japan. Yeah, for instance, do you think if Japan sent a fleet, for instance, or declared war on Iran, Iran will not target every single Japanese manufacturer in the region and beyond? Wouldn't they target, for instance, cargo ships like shipping Honda and other brands and Toyota? There's consequences of the actions against Iran. This war is not like other wars. It's not like Iraq. You just go bomb Iraq, kill Iraqis, weaken Iraq, and puts on the ground. No, this is very different from other wars in the region and beyond.
Let me add something, Karim, because you just reminded me. I think it was the head of the national security of the Iranian parliament who said in a tweet that now Ukraine could also be considered a military target because of the help that they've been giving to the U.S. with the drones. And well, maybe you can expand on that a bit also. And there's something else, as you're talking about retaliation against those who aid the U.S. and Israeli war, because it was also reported yesterday by the Wall Street Journal that at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia, a recent Iranian missile attack damaged 5 fuel tankers. These, of course, right after the 2 other tankers that had a mid-air collision, whatever the hell they're calling it. They got attacked. They got attacked by the Iraqi resistance. Saudi Arabia, which has promised Iran so many times, we're not going to allow our airspace to be used for attacks. We're not going to use our land to be used for attacks against you. Now we're hearing, Iran actually, when they bombed this base, they damaged a bunch of the fuel tankers that are allowing the U.S. to conduct these very violent strikes inside Tehran. The carpet bombing of Iran, as it happened in Gaza, they are taking the exact same doctrine that they use in Gaza to Iran and, of course, now to Lebanon. Yeah.
True. No, there's a couple things.
Yeah, I just want to explain, these tankers are very essential in the war. They are not like secondary weapon. The United States and the Israelis can't bomb Iran without such airplanes, because they are taking off mostly from Israel, and Israel, there is no only bombers maybe, and Israel doesn't have them. They don't have these airplanes, warplanes that are carrying heavy weapons. Okay, the weapons that we are seeing being bombed, they can't reach Iran without these tankers. We have to acknowledge this. And if and the Hamas will see, whatever can reach. No, it can reach, but with not as effective weapons as we are seeing. They will only put weapons that can damage a building, not like hundreds of tons.
Because of the weight. Because of the weight.
Of course, of the weight and the fuel. It's simple math.
It's basic mathematics. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is very important. We have to know that Iran is protected from the north, because we have Russia, and from the east we have Pakistan and Afghanistan. Okay, so most of the attacks are being launched from the sea, from the south, for instance, and from the west. Are the majority of the bombardments are coming from United States and the Israelis. From the Iraqi spaces, and that's how they started. And the Israelis, they said it, they put an infographic how they are bombing Iran, and also there is many videos on social media from Iraqis simply filming the fueling occurring above their heads in Iraq. So, I don't understand how the Gulf countries are still saying we are not doing anything, and they are hosting these. And the most important thing, Seema, that people are not talking about. Where are all the fuels coming from?
You mean the actual fuel?
Yeah.
Good question, Karim. Good question.
Where?
Seema, you had some thoughts.
No, I just wanted to remind people that, Iran came out and made it clear when missiles were being launched from Bahrain. The same happened today. Iran's foreign minister said that when they bombed Al-Kharj and Abu Musa Islands, they identified that they were attacked from the UAE. And so I want to read you the quote because maybe some of our viewers already read it.
Arakji also said from a neighboring country.
Wait a second. So last night they attacked Kharj Island and Abu Musa Island with the artillery rocket system HIMARS, as they call it, which is a low-range rocket system, and they have done it from the soil of our neighbors. This is crystal clear that they're using the territory of our neighbors to attack us by this kind of rockets, and this is absolutely unacceptable. These attacks were tracked by our forces, and now it is clear that they are fired from the UAE, from two locations in the UAE, from Ras Al Khaimah and from a location very close to the city of Dubai, and it is very dangerous that they are using highly populated areas to launch missiles against us. And this goes also into when you see Iran expanding its scope beyond traditional US bases also to other civilian areas. Why is that? Because they evacuate the bases of soldiers, and this was mentioned in the interview that we had yesterday on our channel with Dr. Fouadi Zadi, that they evacuate the bases and send them to hotels and other places. So anyway, so you have that, and you have the fact that there are constant attacks being being launched from UAE territory. I have a lot of other things to say. I don't know when I'm going to get to them.
No problem. Yeah, I just want to comment.
Go ahead.
I just want
Mine
to
are
comment.
random things. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I don't know. So I'm reading comments. There's a comment that is like being posted more than once. Is that they are telling me no. Most of the attacks are not being conducted from the south. Let me read it. There's a lot of comments. I don't know.
There's actually one. There's some comments here. Karim, did you find what you were looking for?
No, it's but I can answer. I forgot the comment exactly what it is. So I said they are suggesting that no, they can't attack Iran from the south. I'm just want to say yes, they are using their ships and they are using their submarines and they are launching Tomahawks. Tomahawks is launched from the sea.
There's also
it's not put on the airplane, yeah. So all these Tomahawks and the first massacre they did in the school, it was launched from the sea. Tomahawk has a range, a big range. As I said, there's also depends on the warhead, but they can throw it from like 1,500 to 2,500 kilometers.
There's one thing I want to hear your guys' thoughts on because you brought up the comments, Karim, and there's many people commenting the same thing. And please, everyone who's here, make sure to hit that like button. Again, just a friendly reminder. We really need your help to get this video out to more people. People are saying, is Netanyahu there? Is Netanyahu there?
God,
is
dude,
the AI video, quote unquote AI video from yesterday. There's also, the fact, I think today someone was posting that he wasn't in the security cabinet meeting that Israel Katz led earlier today. What have you guys heard?
He's not, bro. And if he is, you're going to know about it because there's going to be way more like credible leaked reporting going on about it than there is now. Because right now the source is like Facebook, bro. Like, trust me, we all want it to be true. And they're like, oh, the six fingers, and it isn't even six fingers. It's like the shadow. the shadow.
They're saying like he's missing teeth.
Like,
too.
Guys, like, wait, like I want it to be true, like, but you need to give me more, But there's other comments. First of all, you guys really cracked me up about my jacket. Someone called me YPG and someone else called me IDF. Guys, I've had this jacket for a long time and I decided, I don't know why, to button it up all the way to the top. I don't know why, I just did before I left the house to come here. So I wanted to say, also there was another interesting question from Kate in the comments about why has Hamas called on Iran to stop attacking neighboring countries. Now, people who are like, a lot of people are going to, I might get backlash for saying this because a lot of people who I know disagree with me. But for me, there are two Hamases, okay? That doesn't mean that there aren't legit Hamas dudes in the political leadership, okay, in terms of, what's best, trying to do what's best for the people and so on and so forth. But if you want to know what the fighters on the ground really think, you have to look at the statements of the military wing and not the dudes that are sitting in Qatar and therefore compromised by Qatar and pressured by Qatar and requested by Qatar to make such a statement. If it was really a true take by Hamas, then you would have seen this kind of statement days ago, because it's 15 days in that Hamas is suddenly asking Iran not to attack neighboring countries. There is the Gaza Hamas, right? And there is the Khalid Mish'al Hamas. And these are two different Hamases, regardless of what you guys say or think. You need to understand that also there were some unverified reports by Israelis and Israeli journalists going around a few days ago that Qatar has accepted to kick Hamas out, okay, because Hamas refused to condemn. So whether or not this is true, it's very clear that Hamas is just doing this because Qatar hosts them and they have to do it. And it is not the opinion of the resistance movement on the ground, or even many political like individually, the political bureau members. But this is the unfortunate truth of when you have like Turkish and Qatari patrons, because you are a besieged movement with not many options. And a lot of people think it's like, oh, they should just leave Qatar and go to Yemen or something. But it's, they're stuck now with Qatar and Turkey have some influence and some leverage. Don't ever forget that the US gave Qatar permission. We're the ones who gave Qatar permission to host the Hamas offices in Doha.
They asked them not to close them down, remember that?
Don't read too much into it. It's an annoying statement, but it's just the Khalid Mish'al. Khalid Mish'al is the same guy who took the stance on the side of the CIA to topple Assad's government. So you shouldn't be surprised by these kinds of statements.
Karim,
and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Karim, you have some thoughts you were asking.
You were...
Yeah, it's very important. I love to talk about this. So the Israelis released a statement and they acknowledged that an F-35 was nearly shot above Iran.
That. Yes, true.
This is very important in the path of the war. This means that Iran still has capability of downing such airplanes.
Can you say it again? Sorry, I missed it.
The Israelis reported, I think, a censorship was lifted on.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
That they almost downed an F-35
with
earlier.
Their air defenses, yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Continue.
Yeah, so this is very important, because if the Iranians manage to down an F-35, this is a huge win, and this will shatter the image of Israel. Why? Because they put themselves so high up, them and the Americans, then if you damage them in such a way, their image will shatter. They put this image that they can be touched, but when they are touched, they will try their best to hide it, or if they couldn't hide it, it will shatter them. The same applies to the two airplanes that were targeted above Iraq. Same applies to the Iraqis, for the 3 airplanes that were downed at the beginning of the war. And maybe same applies to a ship or 2 that were hit. So when people say that and see that, the image that they spent years accomplishing it and paying billions of dollars in media and other means to paint it will be shattered, and this will be a great loss.
Too bad it was almost downed and not actually downed. Now they're going to be extra careful because they're fucking hysterical.
Exactly. Let me give an analogy or example, because we lived this in 2006. In 2006, the Israeli destroyers, Sa'ar, wherever you go in Beirut, or if you were on the shore, you can see them. In the night, during daylight, you can see them. They bombed most of the bombings that happened from the sea. But afterwards, when Hezbollah was able to target a Sa'ar, then we didn't see them the next day. That's what we mean when we say Israelis are vulnerable in some places, and if maybe one missile can change the path of the war. So that's what we are saying. Because, for instance, if this happened to Iran, or maybe even to the United States, you will not see an order to halt all naval operations. But the Israelis, because they are afraid to get hit again for their image and for the things that they say about themselves, they usually take like extreme measures that will be negatively affecting them in the end game of the war.
Yeah, just to speak to what you said quickly, Karim, even the refueling plane that was brought down most likely by the Iraqi resistance in Iraq, we saw that data showed that the refueling aircraft were then avoiding that airspace after that happened.
Yeah,
and
they are
that's
using
another example.
Qatar and Jordan.
And don't forget, it's this territory was the area that CENTCOM claimed was friendly territory. Okay,
Yeah, sorry,
and if it's so friendly, why is it being avoided now? You know, so it's like you said, one thing can change the equation and create.
Because they can't take losses.
Yeah.
They painted this image for themselves. Yani, for instance, imagine if, sorry, I said Qatar, I meant Kuwait and Jordan. That's why I wanted to interrupt you. For instance, Russia, when they went to the war with Ukraine, they knew there were airplanes will be down, damages will be taken. Imagine, for instance, Putin painted the image that the Israelis and the Americans painted to themselves, for instance, and then you see Russian airplanes falling down or Moscow being targeted. Everybody in the world will say, look at Russia, they lost. But they knew what they are doing, so nobody now is saying Russia is lost. But some damages to the United States and the Israelis will make you conclude that they are losing.
And there's one side that inflicts damage in another way than the other side, because the other side is way more capable than inflicting casualties. Our people can endure larger amount of casualties and have to inflict damage on the enemy in different ways. You know, like targeting radars, like taking certain strategic decisions. Because
like closing down
because we as far as the last few years has shown us, and we know this historically, like Iran is not capable of killing like 700 people in one go, to be honest, in the same way that the US and Israel have been doing that in Gaza, in Lebanon. Look in Lebanon how they're openly massacring.
And that, double tap, Sima, don't forget.
And there's the double taps. And by the way, guys, 826 martyrs in Lebanon since March the 2nd. Okay,
less than 2 weeks.
And in
These
Iran,
are the civilian numbers.
I haven't seen the latest toll for Iran. I haven't seen that one has been released. I will check in a little while, but it was over 1,300. I think it has surpassed 1,500 certainly. And they are targeting Red Crescent. They are targeting all the emergency responders across the region. This is what they do. Anyway, so
this
yes,
is actually
it's
something
the little things.
Can I add numbers also? There's like few numbers that can be added over Sima's comments. In Lebanon, the Hebrew media just announced that the Israeli army has accomplished destroying 100 buildings in Lebanon, 70 in Dahi in south of Beirut and 30 in south of Lebanon. 90%, if not more, of these buildings that were destroyed, you can see them on TV and social media, they are residential buildings.
The images out of Dahi are honestly,
this is what they do.
It's
but
horrible.
So people are always like, I see it in this. I monitor social media, and whenever there's like an Iranian strike, everyone is the comments and it's like, who died? Nobody died. Or if it's like, oh, 2 Israelis were killed, only 2. We need more. And it's like, I get the sentiment, but you're dealing with a kind of asymmetric warfare.
Completely,
that you can't measure by that way. And a dear friend of mine, I don't know if he's watching or not, but he wrote something very simple that everyone already knows, but the way he worded it, and he sent, I saw it the other day. He said Iran is so clever in the sense that they are attacking the American economy and by extension the global economy more than inflicting casualties, because they know that America cares more about money than it does the welfare of humans.
Completely.
100%.
That is really, I found that like really, Nader, thank you for that. And that's
very
like
clear.
That's very clear.
Let me add one thing I want to, because we didn't mention, and it's very important to mention, because as I said, the situation in Lebanon is really dire, and they have openly said we are going to use the Gaza playbook, and that includes, of course, an announcement earlier today in which the Arabic spokesman for the Israeli army said that Hezbollah is using ambulances. And of course, that's exactly what they said about Hamas in Gaza.
And even Iran.
They are transplanting this absolutely the same playbook, the same language, and the media is again doing their job for them. So now we have paramedics getting attacked in Lebanon, just like they were in Gaza, and like you said, Sim, of course, like they are also doing in Iran. Why? Because they don't have anything else to bomb. Because they really don't have anything else to bomb, because they do not know where the attacks are coming from. This is why they are demanding that the Lebanese government do their job for them. And this is why you're seeing cities in Tehran be carpet bombed, or like they're bombing checkpoints where, you know, the army or the Basij are deployed, because they don't know where they need to bomb, and because they just keep feeding AI the bad intelligence that they have.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And also, let us not forget yesterday, Naim Qasim, the new Secretary General of Hezbollah, in his speech, he said it. He said, it's clear now for us that there is no military banks for the Israelis anymore.
Yeah.
Meaning that
so clear.
if Hezbollah did something in the north, the only retaliation or the response from the Israelis is to bomb residential buildings or to kill civilians. And the pattern, you can see the pattern. Go to the news when Hezbollah hits a building or kills a soldier. After like 30 minutes, the Israelis will bomb a residential building in Beirut or in the north or in the south, or they will kill like displaced people. They will bomb displaced people as they did in the heart of Beirut, for instance.
Exactly.
Or if they are more angry, they issue yes, sometimes statements to evacuate the area, but they are not issuing them because they are good. They are issuing them because simply what they are bombing residential buildings. Now we are Lebanese. I am here. Yeah, Lebanon is very small. We've been to these buildings. And you buy socks from this building. This building has like an old person in a Dikkan, in a mini market. And what are these buildings? And if a member of Hezbollah, and he has the right also again, to who has a like apartment in a building, you bomb the whole neighborhood.
Well,
That's what they are
exactly,
doing.
but that's the thing.
Yeah, people don't know that.
When they
That's what
targeted
they are doing.
when they targeted the hotel, for instance, on Raushi, the Ramada hotel,
Ramada.
we over and over again, they demonstrate to us their capability of being able to target only one apartment, right? Like a surgical, it's an
Remember when they
assassination.
killed Haniyeh?
The whole building, exactly. The whole building remains standing. They target one apartment. So you level an entire building because you claim there's like one office of like a Hezbollah dude or whatever. You could have not, but you do it on purpose. Everyone knows this. And just because speaking to the comments, because somebody brought it up, I don't know if you guys talked about it yesterday, that yesterday Israel bombed civilian infrastructure. They bombed a bridge in South Lebanon. Maybe you guys already brought
I think we brought it up, yeah.
You did, yeah. I mean, they've started with that. We don't know how far they're going to go with that.
Now they set a precedent in Gaza. And, you know, like we've been saying it for a while. We've been hearing, you know, people like, for example, the Colombian president say it for a while. Gaza is the model for what's coming next. So as long as these people continue to be allowed to act without any impunity, they're going to continue to implement the same model. And I think we should start wrapping it up, guys. But there's just one last thing I want to add, because it's worth mentioning. As we were saying, Donald Trump keeps claiming that, you know, Iran's obliterated, Iran's defeated, Iran is about to surrender. And yet he's about to deploy about 5,000 Marines to West Asia. Apparently, as part of this brilliant idea, you know, it's just full of brilliant ideas, to do a ground incursion, to launch troops, boots on the ground, as they like to call it.
And what is it again? To take the enriched uranium, or is it just, you know, for fun?
I'm not sure if it's because the enriched
Yeah,
uranium.
that's
I'm actually not sure. You know, it's probably deep inside Iran, but I think they might be about the island, about Harish Island.
About Kharg Island. Ah, yes,
Yeah.
true.
But
Yeah, okay.
you know, just like bombing that island last night, all it did was escalate. Sending troops in the ground is just going to escalate more and send a whole bunch.
Well, that's a
of
huge
Hawkins
threat
back
that he
home.
made yesterday, right? He said if you interfere with traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, then we will bomb all the oil facilities on that island, right?
But-
and he thinks that will. I think he thinks that Iran will surrender immediately. Because that's a huge threat. I mean, when I saw it, I freaked out, right? And I don't take Trump seriously, but
I calmed her down.
I saw that and I was like, bro, that's that's like this monster, you know, like that's the 90% of their oil exports. How long?
I'm still waiting for the environmental groups to say anything. about this war. and the
Yeah, I
level
know.
of
I mean,
destruction
No way.
that is
and
causing,
then don't we have some conflicting reports about, is it him or his advisor searching for an exit plan? He doesn't want an exit plan, but the people
the
around him do.
advisors are
The advisors, yeah. I mean, what's the,
I'm sure
is
it's him.
maybe
Yeah.
the island is the exit plan. I mean, I don't know what the exit plan is. I don't
The
I don't
exit
know.
plan is going to be, and this is what I read, like the report you're referring to, Sima, is essentially do what they did with Yemen. Declare victory and get out of there. Get out
Well,
of there. as soon
he's
as you
already
can.
declaring victory, isn't he?
Yeah, but
he's like,
the
yeah.
problem is that he can declare victory all he wants. That doesn't mean Iran's going to stop, because Iran is fighting an existential war, just like Israel. Israel is also fighting an existential war.
There's
in
an
the wrong
important
terms,
question.
obviously.
The Netanyahu is dead comments are still coming in. I hope so, brother.
Sima, I have a question for you from our comment section. Flower Power is asking, Greta hasn't spoken yet.
Why is this question for me?
I think she actually did, didn't
I
she?
think I know the least about Greta from like the whole Cradle team. Like, I don't know about that. Don't ask me that.
Yeah. So regarding the island that you were mentioning, I just want to comment very fast about it. The idea is not that they want. The idea is not preventing Iran to export oil. The idea is not to acquiring more oil. The idea is to ship this oil. This is the problem of the United States, and this is the weapon of Iran. If you take the oil of the whole region, you can't ship it out of the region. This is the whole idea of what's happening now. And many people might suggest take them to other country, ship them through land or whatever, or pipes. This such project will take many years and billions of dollars to be accomplished. It's non-negotiable now for the countries to do that. Maybe Saudi Arabia has like other pipeline for like shipping west, but it can't export all its the oil that they have through this pipeline. So this is the point. Whatever the Americans do doesn't mean anything strategically unless they were able to open the Strait of Hormuz. If they couldn't, Iran will dictate the end of the war.
Exactly. Well, guys, I think we can wrap it up for today. I want to thank everyone who joined us. Please, if you haven't yet hit that like button, make sure to do it. And of course, in the description below, you can find a link that will take you to our Patreon page, where for as little as $5 a month, you can become a direct supporter of the Cradle, support independent journalism, allow us to continue to bring you the news as they happen. And of course, a special thank you to all of our Patreons. And thank you to Karim. Thank you to Sima as well for taking the time to do this. Honestly, I mean, the entire Cradle team, it's going through, well, it's living under war, and we're still bringing you everything as we can. So really, thank you guys so much. And we'll see you soon.
See you guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Cradle exists because the world does not need another mouthpiece. It needs a mirror and sometimes a megaphone. We report from West Asia, from inside the region, not from Washington, Tel Aviv, or London. We're fiercely independent, no government directives, no corporate backing, no editorial leash. We publish the story that legacy media buries, and we do it at great risk. Our reporting unsettles the powerful, exposes contradictions, and gives voice to the silenced. But independence is not free. If you believe West Asia deserves to shape its own narratives, now is the time to act. Click the button, contribute, keep the Cradle independent, and let us do the legwork for you.